Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, and welcome back today. Destined for greatness unless you do this. So I was reading in the scripture, or let me ask you this question before I tell you about the scripture. Look, has anybody ever said to you, man, you're destined to do great things? Have anybody said to you, man, I know there's a reason, I know there's a calling on your life, and I know that you're going to produce something? Have you ever been asked this question, or someone told you how great you are going to be? Well, today we're going to look at the scripture that I was originally going to talk about today, but I realized that, look, at the end of the day, yeah, you're destined for greatness, but I'm going to share with you what has already happened that can cancel out your greatness. So let's jump into the Word of God and let's look at this text that we were first going to talk about, to probably just to kind of make you feel good about your greatness. And let's pull it up in Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 5. It says, before I formed you in the belly, in the womb, I knew you thee. And before you came as forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee as a prophet unto the nations. We were going to talk about how destined you were, and we were going to talk about how God knew you. God knew you before he formed you in the womb, and how you're going to do great things. And you probably will. You potentially will, or maybe not. Because look, at the end of the day, many people right now today are struggling. Many people are struggling today. What are people struggling with? We're living in a time where the word mental health, I remember when it started coming up, it was like mental health, mental health, mental health. And I'm not here to bash it. What I'm here to say is that means that when mental health became a focal point, it would just mean something was missing. Something that we all were looking for kind of disappeared. And what was it? See, a few years back when I was on the internet and I was listening and I was getting motivated with all the motivational things that YouTube can do. And I was just excited. I'm in the gym. I'm putting on muscle, and things are feeling great until I heard a voice. Have you ever heard a voice? Like, has a voice ever rang out so loud in your head, or so loud, it's something that you were listening to that you had to stop? And I stopped. See, what I heard was, I did hear before I formed you in the womb, right? I heard it before I formed you in the womb. I called you. I heard it. Like, I heard a voice. No, it wasn't that particular text, but I heard a voice that said it. See, because when you're destined for greatness, a voice is going to crawl out. A voice is going to say, hey, it's me. Hey, I'm looking for you. Hey, where are you? Hey, what's going on? We've got something to do. And I heard this voice. And the voice was so powerful that I had to stop. I said, who is this? What is this? And why have I not heard this before? I was like trying to figure this out. And it was the voice of Dr. Miles Monroe at the time. Someone had mixed in a motivational message with Dr. Miles and I think Les Brown and maybe a couple of other people. And I was like, that voice. But even though I heard Dr. Miles, what I heard was my calling. What I heard was the greatness calling out. Now, here's the thing. Yes, I know that I've been destined for greatness, but here's the thing. Even though I was destined for greatness was going to be canceled out for a number of reasons. And it's really just one reason. And I had to go search the Bible. I wanted to search the Bible for a phrase that I'd heard many times over and over and over again. You may have heard it too. And it says, and they did evil in the sight of the Lord, or they did evil in the sight of God. Have you heard that before? I heard that. I heard that many times. I've read it in the scripture. I said, well, how many times was it said? So I went to the Bible app, and I put in, they did evil in the sight of the Lord. And 3 pages of verses came up. All of them weren't quite the same. But if I had to put, I didn't count them all because the point I want to make today is the fact that, yes, you're destined for greatness. I'm destined for greatness. But if we do evil in the sight of the Lord, there's not going to be any greatness, or whatever greatness you get is going to be canceled out. Just like the children of Israel, it says in Judges 3:12, and the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord strengthened Eglon, the king of Moab, against Israel because they had done evil in the sight of the Lord. What did he do? He says, you know what? Because y'all dumb mofos, I'm going to go ahead and strengthen these other ones. There's another one in Judges. The one that says, and they did evil in the sight of the Lord, right? And it was the Midianites that, that came in and took over. Then there's another one. It's, and Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord in 1 Kings 11:6. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord. When Solomon's lesson, I think on the 31st, we have, man, look, don't miss the 31st, and don't miss all of January. January is going to be amazing. But the 31st is going to set everything up. So here it is. Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord. The one who came to God, the one when God came to him, he said all the good stuff. He says, man, hey, man, just give me wisdom, God. Just give me wisdom, is what he said. But he wound up doing evil in the sight of the Lord, even though he was destined for greatness. Like, who else did? Like, so many of the kings did evil in the sight of the Lord, and Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the king after king after king after king after king after king did evil in the sight of the Lord. So what does that mean today? What is evil? See, what is evil? Is evil cursing? I don't think it's going to be cursing. Is evil, drinking strong drink or smoking weed? I doubt if that's going to be it, because they never said anything about those things. But the evil that I believe that the Bible is talking about is that they went away from who God called them to be. I'm going to say it again. They went away from who God called them to be. So imagine this. Israel, that one nation that God wanted to set apart as a case study. This was the case study. Like if we were in business, he said, you know what? I'm going to find the most jacked up people to transform. This is exactly how I'm reading the Bible. I'm going to the Bible, and it's saying, oh, you got some slaves, a whole group of folks, they slaves. I'm going to go ahead and redeem that whole group. And that group of people, I'm going to show people how from that group, everybody else is going to be able to, come in and do all the stuff that I want to do. And I'm going to use this group. They messed up, they slaves. So of course, it's probably not going to work for most people. But for me, I'm God. Yeah, it's going to work. So he's doing a case study on a group of people. So if we just think about this, if we brought that into today, we look at all the people, many of us are slaves. Many of us, right? I was talking to my kids. I was talking to them over the weekend, and I was talking to how I said, look, like corporate America, just corporate America in general, the whole system of how the working system has changed. It went from agriculture, and then it took everybody inside into the corporate offices. I says, hey, well, many people are slaves to a job. I remember Robert Kiyosaki was, proclaiming this message some years ago, and I kind of jumped on the bandwagon. And he was talking about, man, most people are slaves to a paycheck. And at the time, I was just like, yes, slaves to a paycheck. And I says, man, that's deep, right? Because if I'm a slave to a paycheck, how am I going to get to my greatness? Now, the people that do have jobs that connect to their greatness on their job, and then they say to themselves, how can I be valuable here at the job? And they take on a new mindset. They take on a new mindset. See, a lot of times we throw this word around, mindset, mindset, mindset. What is mindset? It means it's something that you're thinking. Your thinking is set on something. Kind of like last week, came downstairs in my house and I noticed it was a little chilly. I says, why does it feel chilly? I said, oh, maybe the fireplace, we have a gas fireplace that we don't use anymore. But maybe there's a draft coming into that fireplace. I was like, So then I walked over to the thermometer, and the thermometer is set on a number. But it was, when I looked at what the temperature was, it was underneath. So the heat should kick in. If it goes underneath the number that's set, the heat should kick in and take it right back up. But it was 5 degrees lower. What's going on? I started troubleshooting. And I'm like, man, the set point is not coming up. Why is it not coming up? I go downstairs to the furnace. Now we have a dual zone. The upstairs is working perfectly because it's on a different zone. And then I go downstairs to the furnace. I said, well, let me turn on the fan. I turned on the fan, but the fan is just the fan, but it's not the heat. So the heat wasn't coming up. What's going on? Won't come up to a set point. And I called the company. I said, hey, let me call somebody. I called some folks that have been here before. They put in some of the stuff. I said, hey, man, these melt. They come in. And after about 20 minutes, they found the culprit. Something had disconnected. So the set point was not able to come up. The furnace was not able to engage. Why did I tell you that story? Here's why. Mindset is the same way. Right? See, because if something is not connected, think about this. If something is not connected and we want to change the temperature, it's not going to change. Like, hey, we want it to get hotter, right? It can't get hotter or it can't get cooler unless we change the temperature. So we have to change the temperature. We have to change our mindset so that if I was set on a paycheck, then how am I going to be set to get profits? What are profits? Profits are basically what business owners get. How can I change from paycheck to profits? Well, that's a different set point. That's it. Because now you got to take it up higher. You're going to be a little hotter. See, a lot of people don't want to get to fire. A lot of people don't want to start getting into the heat because the heat is hot. Nobody want to get to the hot. So if you want to go up to profits instead of paycheck, it's a whole new mindset. We've got to get rid of the mindset of the paycheck person. Recently I'm doing a video series on what a healthy business is. One of the ways to change your set point, right? You're destined for greatness, is to create a vision for your life. Compelling. Darren Hardy calls it the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal. Something that's huge. You change the set point by going for a vision. You're destined for greatness. But here's the thing. What is it that people do that cancel their greatness? Well, I just work my job. And I never actually go looking. I never actually go searching for my purpose. What else? Hey, well, I figure, life is just about having a good old time and it's not like I'm hurting anybody. But what if you are called for more? What if you are supposed to do something else? And all I'm doing is focusing in on all the stuff that everybody's doing. I'm not taking no time to deposit into me all the good stuff, all the stuff like, I keep a couple Bibles on my desk, right? I use the one online. I got the Bibles on my desk, and these Bibles are my foundation. They help me to change my set point. Every year I got to change my set point. I'm changing my set point right now because of these Bibles. Because when I go read Jeremiah 1:5, and it says, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you came out of the womb, I sanctified you and I ordained you a prophet to the nations. Even though he was talking to Jeremiah, he was talking to me. He's talking to me because I know I'm destined for greatness. I know there's a purpose for my existence. And see, here's the thing. I heard my guy Patrick Bet-David of Valuetainment just talking about this on a keynote that he gave. And he was talking about leadership as the number one priority, right? Leadership, a leader of men, a leader of people. Like if you become a leader of people, everything comes under that. What you think about it? Like an influencer. What is an influence? An influencer is somebody who's leading from the front. They're leading now. Being an influencer you can mess up too. That's why it's important that when you are leading, your morals and values are together. See, you are destined for greatness. You have been called for something greater than maybe you even know. See, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and it's that time when they're going to have some speeches about you, or they're going to be talking about what you did or what you're leaving or what you gave. What are they going to say? Are they going to talk about how great you are, how you just showed up and you are a leader? See, because that's what we all would want. We all would want that. See, but at the end of the day, if we do evil, what is evil? Evil is focused on the wrong stuff. And here's the thing. This is very broad. I'm using a broad term because doing evil is going away from God's laws, going away from the principles that God's already laid out. There's so many things we can talk about. We can talk about the morals, right? There are strict morals. There are strict principles around morality that God has. And because God made it one time and it's not going to change. So if some government decides to change the morality that we should abide by, that's doing evil in the sight of the Lord. It's like the United States was built on Christian values. It's no longer built on Christian values. The United States are no longer built on Christian values. I don't know what values United States are built on. Like United States is known as the land of the free, right? The land of the free. So it's the land of the free. It's the American dream. United States. There's no other place called the American dream. There's no other dreams. So if United States is the dream and it was built on the Christian foundation, but all of a sudden they're no longer doing that, they were destined for greatness. Greatness was this country. They did evil in the sight of the Lord. See, how many of us are going to stand watch? I'm going to call it to Christians today, folks that call themselves Christians. Are you standing watch? Are you, look, I was on the sidelines for many years and I didn't have a perspective, but I don't mind having a perspective. I don't mind telling you who I am. I don't mind telling you that God runs my life. I don't mind telling you that I abide by this book and this book alone. I don't mind doing that. Like, yeah, I'm the healthy accountant. Yep. Tax strategy. Yep. All that accounting stuff. Great business. Yep. Oh man, this is awesome. But at the end of the day, if this thing isn't running my life, I don't have a life. I'm not going to be the one that does evil in the sight of the Lord. So I'm going to stand. But I ask you, you're destined for greatness. Are you willing to give up your greatness? Are you willing to give up your greatness? I didn't think so. You don't want to give up your greatness. So don't do evil in the sight of the Lord. Take a stand. I want you to look at all the net agendas. Look at the agendas that's in this country or around the world, wherever. Look at the agendas and ask yourself, how do those agendas align with this? If the agendas don't align with that, but we don't stand up, that's the same as doing evil in the sight of the Lord. So I'm here today, as we are almost finished with 2023, to be just a little wake-up call. Don't do evil in the sight of the Lord. Don't side with evil, even if it's unknowingly. Like, I want to make sure that if I'm with the evil, I'm with them. But I want to make sure that if I'm with the kingdom, I'm with the kingdom. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm with the kingdom. What about you? If you're with the kingdom, type that in the chat today. I'm with the kingdom. Let's go. 2024 is here. A few days away. Let's do what the kingdom says to do. Let's be destined for greatness. Let's do what we've been called to do. And let's be leaders of men and of women. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. Make sure you go to thehealthyaccountants.com, download the free ebook, get your breakthrough now, unlock your financial mindset, 7 key strategies that anybody can do. God bless you, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.